There we go. So, yeah, I was very excited to find you and find, the quality of work that you do. So tell me more about Elegant.
Well, let's see, we started 25 years ago, 1998. And I actually started by, well, my wife and I got married in our front yard. And so I spent a whole summer, or actually almost a whole year, landscaping our front yard in preparation of our wedding in our front yard, which was
Yep.
June 21st.
Dedication.
And so, anyway, we just kind of told like family what we were doing, and we just said, hey, if you want to help us out with gifts or anything, um, you know, what am I trying to say? Just money or anything or whatever that we can apply to our house, to our yard. And we're going to just basically, that's going to be our vacation money or whatever. And so that's kind of what people did, is they just helped us, I don't know, give us, like a lumber, what am I trying to say? Like a, come on, like a card, like a gift card. Okay. Like a Walmart or gift card
Yeah.
or whatever, anything we can do to help landscape our front yard, anything that would help with materials.
Mhm.
And so that's what we did. So long story short, after I did that, people started stopping by our house saying, who did your landscaping? And it was like, well, I did. And they were like, well, I'd be interested in have you do my house. Are you interested in doing other homes? And I said, well, not really. I'm an assistant manager at Enterprise Rent-A-Car. So it'd be really tough for me to do that because I'm working about 50 hours a week at Enterprise. And then after maybe another year passed, I really started thinking about it and just told my wife, I just said, I think I'd like to do that. And, and she's like, well, we need to have work lined up first before you quit, your job. And so anyway, I said, well, I guess we can go knocking on doors. So we went and knocked on doors. And, I should have got the information from the people that stopped by my house, because I just said, at the time it was like, oh, well, I'll let you know or something. And so anyway, we knocked on 57 doors over a weekend. We knocked on 57 doors, and only one lady said, I'm interested in using you. And that was really tough. And I basically remember kind of walking home, because it was kind of in my neighborhood, really on my side of town, really nice established neighborhood up by the hospital. And I remember telling my wife, I said, screw this, no way. I got one job, and she's like, well, that one job could lead to others. And I said, this is ridiculous. What am I doing? I'm going to be quitting, a good job, a good paying job with benefits for this. And she's like, well, this is what you wanted, isn't it? And it's like, so I thought it was going to be easier than that. You know what I mean? And even though when I knocked around on doors, I was like, hey, I have the house on 11th Street with the landscaping. Oh, yeah, it's so beautiful. But yeah, we just aren't interested right now. But, maybe later we'll get a hold of you, So anyway, this lady, Irene Feldman, she was 90 years old and she hired me. And I showed up the next morning, and her grass was about a foot tall. And she said, I want you to push mow my grass. And I was like, okay, I'm not sure what to charge on that. And she goes, well, I'm going to pay you $15 to do that. And even back then in 1998, it wasn't very much money. So I I just didn't know what to say. I was like, well, I'm already here, so let's just do this. Let me get this done, commit to this, and then I'll just go home. And this just isn't going to work out, I don't think. So I mowed it. I remember it took me about 2 hours to push mow that grass. And then I had to weed eat. And then she asked me to pull some weeds in her lily beds. And I'm just thinking, really, to myself, really, but I just sucked it up. I didn't say anything. And so I was there for like a half a day. And she said, all right, I want you to come in the house. I want you to sit down at my table. And I said, okay. Now, that was a lot of work for $15. And I said, oh, yeah, that was a lot more work than we had discussed. And I said, I don't think I can do that again. And she goes, well, it was a test. So here's the thing. You did a great job. I really like you. you, honestly, I was expecting you to quit, but you didn't. And she said, I have 7 rental properties. And then my daughter, who lives right next door, she has 24 rental properties. And I want you to take care of my rental properties, and I want you to start taking care of hers as well. But we'll go speak to her together. And so anyway, long story short, by the end of that week, I had 36 lawns to mow.
Oh,
So that's kind of how I started, was by mowing.
yeah.
You know, your typical lawn mowing company, but that's not really what I wanted, but it's where I had to start. But that mowing quickly, from those 36 lawns, quickly went into, hey, can you remove a couple trees at this rental house? Or can you remove, I don't know, can you pull some weeds at, in this bedding area for this house, or can you dispose of this debris or these limbs at this other house? And, of course, those were extra money things,
Oh,
and honestly, by the end of the summer, well, I'd say after about 2 weeks, I had to hire my nephew. He was 15 years old. And by the end of the summer, so I started that business that day, Cinco de Mayo. So it was May 5th, 1998.
wow.
And by the end of the summer, say by Halloween, I had made $36,000. And that was in 1998, which would be more like probably like 52,000 today, or maybe even closer to 60,000 today. Because gas back then was like 99 cents a gallon. It was very cheap. You get a really nice riding mower for like $7.99 back then, or even, $700, $800. You can get a nice riding mower. I don't know what they are today. Well, I just bought one actually last summer, and it was like $5,000. But long story short, the hospital finally caught on, and then we got an account with the hospital. And once we got in with the hospital, our business just blew up. And so again, the first year I made like $36,000 or $37,000. And so that was 1998. And by 2004, we were doing $512,000 a year. And I had 11 employees and 2 crews.
That's awesome.
So, but the recession hit us hard. It did take a while for our small town, because we have a university town, and it's a very wealthy town. So I am very fortunate to where we have, every job is a good job. It's a big job pretty much now today. So my point is people have money. It's kind of like a wealthier part of St. Louis for the most part of Rolla. Of course, you get your Ferguson, your East St. Louis areas too, but for the most part, Rolla is kind of like St. Charles West or something,
Yes.
yeah. People just, they'll spend the money. These professors, lawyers, doctors will spend the money.
Mhm.
And of course, April of 2020, everything changed, which, and now 85% of my clients today are Californians, New Yorkers, Chicagoans, Texans, and lately Iowans, and original Floridians.
Wow.
So when I say these original Floridians, we're talking 70, 80, 90-year-olds.
Uh-huh.
And they are ticked because they basically got pushed out of Florida because Californians have drove these prices up everywhere, even in Rolla. These Californians are not here by the hundreds. They're here by the thousands.
Yes.
By the thousands. And I tell you,
it's just chaos over there.
Every day, every week, we have 40, 50, and $60,000 jobs today. It's just, and like a $5,000 job to my regular locals, that's a lot of money to them. And it's just like, we'll have this done at the end of the day. And they're like, what? It's like, oh yeah, this is a small job, to where back in 03, 04, 05, a $5,000 job was a very big job, but we had a lot of them, and today, seems like that's on the small end, is 5,000 all the way up to 60,000, but back, I'll just go back to where I was talking about the recession. 08, 07, we didn't really see anything here in Raleigh as far as the recession goes. We saw it on TV, we saw it East Coast, West Coast, and then around 08, then it finally trickled down to Raleigh.
Yeah.
Yep. And then it hit us hard.
Mhm.
And I remember summer of 2008, I had like 10 contracts. And when I have a contract signed and dated by a client, it has a check, a materials check in that folder. Okay, so we don't get them on the schedule until we mail out a contract, they return it, they sign it, they date it with a materials check, and then it stays in their folder until I'm ready to order their materials or until we're ready to start the job, whatever.
Mhm.
And long story short, I remember I had about 10 clients that canceled on us in 08, and it was just boom, 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 right? One after the other. And I thought that was the end of us. It just was so devastating.
Mhm.
And I'm such a nice guy, and we live in such a small town. These people were like, Patrick, we're losing our home, or we have to sell our home and we've got to move. I'm so sorry, but I have to back out of this contract. And it's like, well, legally you can't do that, but every single one of them, I gave them their checks back, even though I had ordered materials. And that's what hurt, because once I voided their contract, sent their checks back on every one of them, I had to pay for those materials, and it took about 4 years to make those payments to pay off all those materials.
Yeah.
And then I think it was about 2012 where things started picking up. Yeah, it was 2012, and the second elections came around with Obama, and people were like, F it, let's do this. This guy's going to be here another 4 years. Let's just do this patio we were talking about. Let's do this irrigation. Let's do this complete we were talking about. Obviously nothing's going to change with this. We were hoping McCain was going to get in, or whatever it was at the time. I can't remember. Oh, wasn't it Romney in 2012?
I think so.
Yeah, McCain was 08 and Palin. But so 2012 things kind of broke. But the good thing is I was sitting on all this material that was paid for, and it was like, oh, hey, I've got this stone in stock, or this stone. And so things kind of picked back up. And then by 2014, things really started picking up again. And then late 2016, early 2017, the ice broke. And I just like things came out of the woodwork.
Yeah.
And we just flourished. And it was really good. I remember everyone was happy for the most part. It was really strange. People started talking again about the elections, about, oh my God, I was so scared. And it's like, you were scared, I was scared, if that woman would have got in, we would have lost everything. And so people finally started talking again and opening up, and people started becoming friendly again. And then of course 2020 came, and things have changed, and I haven't seen people the same since then.
Yeah, the fear.
Yeah, I think people living in fear, and even these Californians that have moved here, they're like, most of them are red state voters that moved here. Most of them. Yeah. And it's funny because it's like they want to talk about it. They're like, I said, oh, how long you been here? Oh, 2 weeks. But as soon as we got here the day of, we changed our license plates. And it's like, really? Oh yeah, we got the dirtiest looks and people flipping us off. And it's like, yeah, I can kind of relate. Some of you people don't know how to drive, and well, that's not us. We don't, so most of my Californians have been really cool. They've been really nice, easygoing, easy pay. Some of my Iowans, seems like most of them have been Democrats, which is crazy, but yeah, but they're the ones that I've had to watch. They're the ones that it's like, okay, we're done with this job. We need final payment. Well, we're going on vacation, so we'll catch you when we get back. And it's like, no, you're going to pay today, because we're going to be done today. And you signed a contract that says, last payment is due upon completion of the job the day of, not when you return from vacation, not a week later. We're a small business. So it seems like some of those Northerners and some Chicagoans, I just had to lay that clear. And it's like, hey, we're good old boys. We have to get paid. But most of my Californians and New Yorkers, some of my New Yorkers are funny. They're, oh, those effing mother effers, that effing mayor ruining that effing place, man. That's why we moved here. We really liked your senator, and we liked the governor here. And And but F that place. Don't ever go to New York, man. Don't ever go there. And it's like, well, I hadn't really, planned on it. So,
Wait.
we really get a mix now. It's like a melting pot. So it's really been interesting. And, but for the most part, everybody's been easygoing. It's just like, you know what? We trust you. We trust your judgment. Everybody in town says you do the best work. And it's like, well, I'm not gonna lie, we do, because we take pride in what we do, and there's honestly some jobs where maybe 1 out of 10 we'll lose money.
Yeah.
Because we want it done right.
Yeah.
And sometimes it takes a little extra money, or there's things that we didn't foresee once we start excavating. Just like last week, we did a patio for a lady. We had to excavate. We had 2 patios we did for her, one on each side of the sidewalk.
Mhm.
She had 3 feet of black soil in those bedding areas.
Oh, wow.
3 feet. And I have never seen that in 25 years. And I went and knocked on the door and I said, I've never seen this. I mean, it looked like a swimming pool on both sides of the sidewalk. It was just a pit, boxed out, and she was like, what's the problem? And I said, well, it says in the contract that we were only supposed to excavate 5 inches. Well, isn't it supposed to be like this? Isn't every job? I said, I've never seen a house like this.
Mhm.
I said, who built your house? She goes, my son. I said, oh, well, your son built your house, right? And she goes, well, yeah, I of course he did. And I said, and she goes, but why do you say that? And I said, because there's 3 feet of black soil here and I can't build a patio on topsoil. I have to hit clay. I have to hit rock and clay. And then we put base rock in there, compact it, and then the patio goes on top of that. And I said, so we literally had to excavate 3 feet of black soil, which took us like 2 days instead of a couple hours. And then we had to come in with double the gravel, to fill it back in and compact it.
No,
Let me
you're still here.
Yeah, let me send that to voicemail. Okay, sorry about that. So anyway, we kind of had to eat that, and some jobs are like that. But you know what? When we were done, she was very happy, and she said, "Thank you. Everybody in town said you were the best, and now I see why." And I said, "Yeah, we didn't make out too good on this job." And not only that, she was on the wait list since 2021, August of 21.
Wow.
So almost 2 years. So here's the thing. When I budgeted my labor back then and materials, of course, I've been holding on to her materials back then, but like gravel went up 30% since then. Labor has almost doubled since August of 2021. So that's where it really ate into profits. And so it was, we didn't do too well, but that's just part of it. And honestly, that's why we have a good reputation, because I'll do whatever it takes to make sure, even if it means we're going to lose money, I try not to. I try to go to the client and say, hey, just like I did with this woman. And she says, well, that's not right. And, to go to people, she kind of worked me over, and I was like, you know what, you're right. It's not right to go to people and ask for extra money. And I usually never do. I said, but it's okay. That's all right. Of course, in my mind, I'm thinking I'm never working for you again, but I mean,
Lord,
it is what
the Lord
it is.
will provide you. Yeah, that's
Well,
for sure.
you're exactly right. That's exactly right. Yeah. So, but I love what I do. I've got great guys. I just really assembled the best crew that I think I've had in, I don't know, maybe 6 or 7 years. I just got really fortunate. I don't know what's going on right now, but I have hired like 4 new guys in the last week. And I mean, it's been a real struggle to even find 4 guys in the last 5 years. So, even in Rolla, Missouri, you may think, what, really? But people here don't want to work. They just, and that's why we are overwhelmed. We're booked out a year right now because we want to work. Every day I want to work. We love to work. I'll take all the work I can get, so.
That's awesome. What kind of marketing do you do? Is it all
I
word
have,
of mouth?
I have Thrive Market that I actually really bit the bullet back in February, and I paid them $6,000 to do all my marketing on social media with the Yellow Book, with Google, with just online ads, like you go on Instagram, if you're local within this area, within, 30 miles, it'll be a pop-up ad.
Yeah.
And like I said, I think it was like $5,800 for that for 6 months, which is a lot of money. But honestly, the first 2 jobs paid for that.
Yeah.
And
Well,
we are the area's largest French drain installer. So we do a lot more than just patios, walkways, waterfalls and stuff. French drains is big business these days.
yeah.
It's big business. And when I say French drains, we're talking either renovation of French drains around a 1960s home or 1970s home, or maybe even a 1990s home. And these pipes that go around the footing of the house, the foundation, they have collapsed over time. Or the root system has just clogged the perforated drain tile.
Yeah.
So where it's just not usable anymore. And the water can't protrude through the end of the pipe, or the homeowner does, like these Californians. Hey, we don't know where our French drains are. Can you come look, help us find them? And it's like, well, yeah, there's a service charge for that, but sure. And I'll come and look, and we can't find them. We cannot find the ends of them. And it's like, we literally have to install new French drain, because if we can't find them and expose, the original French drains that are there, it's pointless.
Yeah.
Because if the ends of those get plugged up, which happens often, well, then the basement floods.
Mhm.
And when a basement floods, that's big money.
It is.
Yeah. So, and that has been huge since 2018, 2019. I take the first Californian job that I took on. It was April of 2020. It was a 20 by 20 paver patio, which we call like a fire pit patio.
Mhm.
And we just do it like basically a square patio, and then we'll put a fire pit in the middle. And I remember a Californian saying, "How much are those?" And I said, "Oh, you're looking at around maybe 10,000, maybe 12,000 at the most. Just depends on how elaborate you want." Oh, then let's go 40 by 40. And I was thinking, huh? And I was thinking, why would you do that? That's a lot more money. And they said, "Oh, our budget is 50,000. So we're good. We're good. So just
They're
go
from
40 by 40."
California. They're used to
Well,
paying a lot more for everything.
Yes. Yes. And so I figured that out quick. I went home and told my wife what happened, because I was like, I cannot believe this. These people, I told them $12,000 on this patio. And then I said, oh, and then on top of that, they want to know if they can get it done later next month because they're having a wedding. And my wife goes, well, that's an extra $10,000. And I said, I can't tell them that. And she goes, well, aren't you booked out 6 months? And I said, yeah. And she goes, then it's an extra 10,000, because you're going to have to work weekends to make up for that, and blah, 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 or you're gonna have to push other clients back. And I said, oh yeah, I didn't think about that. And so I basically typed up the proposal, and I said, we can do it for 40,000 at this price, but it'd be October.
Mhm.
Or if you want it late next month, it'd be like an extra 11,000. And that's why I said 11,000, because I really didn't want to do that. I didn't want to, because once you open that can of worms, it really causes a lot of pain down the road.
Yeah.
But they said, yes, let's do it. So, $20,000 patio turned out to be like, I don't know, 47,000 or something, and they paid it. They were happy. We got it done by 4th of July or whatever it was. And so I learned my lesson quickly, and I tell you, we get 10 out of 10 estimates today. 10 out of 10.
Awesome.
And, I'd say around 2012, we used to get 6 or 7 out of 10.
Mhm.
And today it's 10 out of 10. And it's been like that since 2020.
Yeah. Well, Carter knows all about how to help with the marketing, because he used to work for Thrive. He was the #1 salesperson for Thrive.
Oh, wow. That's awesome, man. That's great. That's good, because
Yeah, I was saying,
Yeah,
I was
maybe
looking
even-
at your system. You're using almost all of Thrive stuff. And
yes, sir. Yes,
and
sir.
I
That's
literally, I wasn't #1 in St. Louis. I wasn't #1 in the Midwest. I was #1 in the entire company.
right. Wow.
And that's because I have a technical background, I believe. Plus, I know how to communicate fairly well. Whereas technical people, typically they get behind their computer and they have a tough time talking to people. I've been one that would be out in front of people and communicating, but I also, because I built Microsoft Exchange servers for Anheuser-Busch as part of my career, I knew how to do all the technical backend and change kilobyte thresholds and put in place IMAP connectors from across the WAN over long area wide area networks into China and London, and that's what I did for Anheuser-Busch. And then InBev came in and laid everybody off, and I have a master's degree, so they said you're fired, right? So with that, I said my buddies said, why don't you go get a job after, fast forward to, I'll say a little bit of the background here, but that led to that. But great company, they do a lot of great stuff. And all I would ever ask you is, are you properly implementing everything they give you? Because they give you a ton of stuff.
Yes.
There's so much it will do. And then now that I know you've got that, I can really just like pour gasoline on what they're doing for you,
Yeah.
or show you how to further use what, and I say this in the nicest way, what most of their sales reps don't quite understand, because they're
Yes.
not technical people. They're salespeople who can offer some of the features and tell you somehow it works, but they don't actually implement it in the strategic way that I ended up setting up all my clients to do that. Our technical people, I love them, but they still didn't get into it as deep as I can. And I can show you some really automated, systematic things that Thrive will allow you to do. You just got to make sure it's set up that way. And you need a couple other caveats. That's where I literally, part of what I tell people, and I would say this to my good friend, Robin, I won't say his last name on our little recording here. I know Don's recording, but Robin, I ran into him up in Chicago. We still talk. He's the vice president. I think he's the number one vice president out of 4 regions. They've consolidated down to when it used to be 11. And he was bragging back in the day. I found out later, oh, we hired the Cardinal Cowboy. And then I came in, was the number one guy in the entire company. My first year, I got the Swan made out of towels on my suite in the presidential suite, because they gave that to the number one guy in the company. And that was neat, but I wanted to do more. And I felt like we had an opportunity. So with this, I would say, Robin, remember when I told you I was leaving? I said to do my TV show thing. Well, here's why you should have taken me up on what I wanted to bring to the company. And so it's essentially just taking everything Thrive does, but putting all the other power into it that really generates the revenue, because they've got a great system, but you've got to fill things into it. And you can do that with pay-per-click. You can do that with SEO. You can do that with social media. You can do that with all kinds of stuff. But I knew as a side gig, if you will, and I was doing this, and I told my bosses, I'm like, hey, Friday between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m., I'm MIA, because I'm recording 6 or 7 TV shows for my show that I didn't get paid on at all, but I was doing it as a kind of a test. But I started off with it, didn't know what we were doing, quit doing it. Car Shield guys came in. I did the Car Shield marketing before they were Car Shield. Stop Repair Bills, and then Car Fix Fast, and then they changed the name to Car Shield. And the judge is their lawyer. He said, why aren't you doing your TV show anymore? I said, because we didn't know what we're doing. And it just didn't, I knew it was a great concept. He goes, how about we help finance all that? So then concurrently, it took about a year of doing my own working for Thrive. And I was still kind of doing this on the side a little bit. And then they came in and said, let's pay for this whole thing. I didn't get paid for it. I couldn't technically have 2 jobs. These were technically 2 different areas of marketing, because Thrive does not produce television shows, right? They offer some video stuff that they kind of throw into stuff. But anyway, I figured out that if we could get people on TV on a national network like ABC, I'd seen what Car Shield had done with it. I signed what Anheuser-Busch had done with it. I worked for Anheuser-Busch for 10 years. And then I saw what Car Shield did. I didn't work for them, but I was contracted to them. They were giving me more money per month than the average person makes in 3 years. Now, that was their overall marketing budget, and I got a good cut of that, which paid a very nice salary. One day they said, we can do it ourselves. I was like, wait a minute, that's not what we agreed on. So they came back around and said, hey, we'll pay for this show. The judge came in, he has his own law firm, and he said, I can get the Car Shield guys to work with us. I run into him like, thanks, you guys. We didn't necessarily agree on how we should proceed. And it was really their choice to say, I'm going to have our internal guy take it over. It sounds like I taught him how to do it. I didn't tell him everything. So when they tried to do it themselves, I noticed it didn't continue. And they just kind of pushed the pay-per-click thing onto the side, I think. But they make their money a lot more off direct mail. It's really effective for, they take an estimate. your car's about to hit 45,000 miles based on the date you bought it, with an average driving of 15,000 miles a year. And so anyway, that's all the stuff they do. But when I did this whole thing, then it really just took off. So now we have a cap. I tell people, here's what's going to happen to your business. It is happening to your business, whether you realize it or not. And everybody, when I say this, they're like, yeah, you're right. And I just ask you, do you study your data? And if you do, do 100%? I know you're getting a high conversion rate. They call it conversion, right? How many people do you give a proposal to, right? And then of the ones you give a proposal to, they say, I'm in. You said you're 10 out of 10 right now?
Yes, sir.
That's great. And I believe that, because now it's kind of the climate we're in. They can't find somebody else to do it.
Yes,
Yourself
yes.
and all that stuff. But there's another conversion rate that's along that path. You're talking about the whole sales funnel here, right? And the people that come into the top of the funnel, they're just tire kickers, and maybe they're interested. When you're giving somebody a proposal, you're towards the end of that funnel.
Yes.
They're very much ready to make a decision. It's just you or someone else, or maybe a third party. Sometimes people don't want 12 proposals, right? That's too much to sort through. But the conversion rate that most people miss, that they don't realize, if you can just increase this a little bit, you dramatically increase your value or your overall profitability. Because imagine you have, let's just take a small number, like let's say 100 people in a week or a month, depending how small of the business, how much traffic you get. For some businesses, they get a good 100 people to their house, their business a month, probably closer to 1,000 if they're doing a little bit more of that. I imagine somebody like you, do you look at your analytics on how many visits you get to your website per month?
Yes, I do.
Do you have a ballpark number?
It's not that much, I don't think. Might be a couple hundred views or something. I don't know. It's just not much.
Yeah, I said there's views and then there's visits, and they're all kind of convoluted, but I can decipher. But yeah, that's what I say. You're normally in that ballpark. Some people, the actual people that are coming to their website, you're usually on a small business between 100 and 1,000, depending on how much other marketing, ancillary social media, etc. But the biggest thing you need to worry about then is what happens once they get there, right?
Yes.
It's like anything else. Once you've got them there, they're obviously interested. They wouldn't be there. What
Right.
happens then? Do you convert? This is what I'm talking about. This conversion rate. I'm talking about how many convert from visit to lead, and then of the ones that convert from lead to sale, right? Where you're giving them, you call it a proposal, or you call that a
Yes.
here's
Yes,
your
proposal. Yes.
yeah. And so, yeah, I mean, and if you could just take that number of people that convert from visit to lead, you just double the amount. And I'm talking about when you have 100 people, if you're getting 10% of them, that means you've got 10 people per month you're giving proposals to, because they turn into leads. Now, even leads, now do they answer the phone and when you call them back? So you're really in the next step, which is going from lead to proposal and then proposal to close, right?
Yes.
But if you could just double that amount of that number, and this is where I really had the concept, and it was interesting because I mentioned it to him. I said, I'd like to meet with you guys about this. And I nicely say, and you might talk to some of these people, if you bring up my name, there's a lot of people that might still remember me there. It's been a couple of years now, but I said to them, guys, I got a way to help increase this conversion rate. I didn't even get that deep. I just talked about, I got a TV show and I can produce it for pennies compared to what most people think it costs to produce a TV show, because I'm an IT guy and I can build a studio anywhere. The studio I built in my house, you see some of our videos, we rent a really expensive studio, but the Car Shield guys, it was great, loved it, didn't pay for that, didn't have anywhere else to take them, built my own studio, and that was $2,600 a pop just to walk in there. But that's why we did 8 or 10 interviews in a day. They have a small business wants to try to do that. They're not going to bring your friends. Everybody going to record. What's going to happen? Those people are going to rent that for their one-time use, and they got to pay $2,600 to do that. Then you got to produce it. Then you got to edit it. Then you got to shoot it. Or reverse order there, really. But all that stuff has to go into this. Well, we've kind of mass produced all of that and systematized it. So the piece that I wanted to bring to them, that they effectively said, "Nah, we're not going to talk about it." And they didn't say you're fired or anything, but I just said, "Okay, I quit." And I felt like I was just like, man, I wish. And now I'm kind of glad, because as soon as you do that, you're working for a company. By virtue of working for them, they can pretty much say, well, thank you for the idea. Maybe we'll have you run the department now that does that offers that service, but it's ours, right? And so that's why I'm kind of glad they didn't, because now I did this on my own. It's all my stuff. I own it. And so now we're going to continue with this process. I would love to partner up with them again. They're really great guys. Robin, Mike, Matt Myers. I call him Mike Myers. That's the actor, but Matt Myers, great guys. Love these guys. But they're in their system. They do what they do, and they didn't see this. Nobody's seen this. Nobody offers a half-hour spot on ABC for you to talk about your business. We have competitors. We have Channel 4, Channel 2, and Channel 5 in St. Louis, really. Channel 5 and 4 do this, and I think now even Channel 2 is doing it as well. ABC moved up to Channel 30. I was at ABC as an intern. I was going to be a sportscaster. I decided I didn't want to move to a small market and try that whole thing. So I want to be close to mom and dad and whatever. But I got the job at Anheuser-Busch. It worked out. But ABC, really, I'm we broadcast and produce videos for businesses in the area. And there's everything from little free spots that I can't get anybody to get a free spot from me. There's a couple people who are like, well, okay, I'll wait for it. But everybody else is like, I want that full-blown production, because a 3-minute, 4-minute spot is good for, every other week if you wanted to push that, because they're going to see the same thing over and over again. The big advantage you have from us versus, I love those guys. I know the guys. Ken Earhart, I know these guys. I run into them. I'm the Cardinal Cowboy. They interview me sometimes, but not anymore, because it just we compete now. I don't know, but I'm usually still around the Cardinal stuff, obviously. But anyway, I know these guys, and I'm like, I can do the same thing. It costs a little bit more for what we offer, but you get 20 times the amount of content. So this is where the conversion rate thing happens, right? This is where somebody sees a landscaping website A and your website going right next to them being B, right? And you both look like you know what you're doing. I see who you're using. They use Duda as the back end for the management of your software. Those are great looking sites. Looks good. A lot of companies are going to have great looking websites. That's kind of what you expect now. But what causes them to call you? You got a half-hour interview on the front of your page on ABC. How many more sales is that going to convert out of your 100 or 200 visits a month if you only got 2 more sales? 2. I'm not talking about doubling the amount. Let's say you had 10 visits and you converted that to 20 that turned into leads instead of 10 that converted into leads. I'm just saying you have 1 more sale or maybe 2 more sales, but that's per month.
Yeah.
For what we and our videos don't go poof, disappear. I deliberately bought high def cameras because I knew that the quality we shoot, this will be good for you for 3 to 5 years. So now you look at that, what that's going to offer for you. But now the most critical factor that most businesses do not even contemplate is that conversion from, and this is why websites are important. But if you can do something to set yourself apart and you can get double the amount of leads, double the amount, or even 10% more, then you're going to get a lot more business, because once they're leads, that's where you kick it on your own. I know how to call these guys. I know what to say to them. I know how to answer their questions. I know how to tell them what they need to hear, things they don't think about. Then they could assume but you got to get them to talk to you first. And if you have a higher conversion rate of that, that's where I knew what I was doing was going to be awesome. And so now I'm in a position, I don't talk about this too loudly too often, but I might be able to retire in 3 to 5 years, legitimately. Then I'll get to go off and do what I love. And that's talking to kids about, I was in a coma and the Cardinal Cowboy thing. I think Dawn might have told you a little bit about, but I'm lucky to be here, pulled a ventilator out of my own throat. And that's why I'm so driven to just conquer the world. I don't really care about making a ton of money. I think money makes life easier, but my passion is I got 4 kids I've worked with now that went through comas or strokes or cancer. And I worked with them after the doctor said they weren't going to make it, or they were going to be incapacitated for the rest of their lives, and depending how long that would last. All 4 of them now have gone on to be pretty well normal lives. One of them lived 6 more years than they said he would. Then it all came back. That was the cancer one. But his mom thanks me because I gave her 6 more years with her son. She said, what do you know what they did for my son, or why my son lived 6 more years? I'm like, no, why? And she said, because you got in his face and told him he had to fight to live. And you stuck with him and met with him, and then he decided to do that when the doctors told him it was over. And he was literally on a ventilator and all that stuff. So that's my passion, but I've got a strong desire to help small businesses. And this, I know, separates the really good companies from the awesome companies. And because you look like you're awesome if you're on ABC for 3 minutes, but you look really awesome if you're on ABC for a half an hour. And then we actually give you an hour of interview time. And I could talk to ABC about that. And I said, they're already sitting here in my studio. I'm not producing 25 videos a week like ABC, like the other guys do. Or I'm sorry, ABC, like CBS. And that's fine. They got a system for that. They got all these people they pay well to do this. And the weather gal, she comes in and does the interviews. They have 2 weather people that do interviews about businesses. They're not doing weather stuff, but they're good at on camera and all that. Anyway, they do a lot of great stuff. It's just coming in and it's working for them. A little better solution here for you. All this content is what you need so you can consistently put something out there, not just the one clip, not too often because you'll bore your audience, you'll lose them. But now we've got 60 minutes of content. So I said ABC. Not everything I film is going to get put on ABC. We're going to cut out here and move some over there. Maybe we'll shoot the whole one here, and the second one we'll use as backup or more content. But it all has that ABC logo in the corner. I can still give that to them for them to use as B-roll on their website, correct? The answer was, of course, we know that happens. Nobody shoots everything the first time and gets it right the first time, every time. That's the way the industry runs. So I turn that into another benefit to say, let's do an hour interview and half of it will air. And actually today I did my first one where I go, let's do 2 half hours. And I've got so much airtime from ABC. They love what I do. Now they're offering me for the next 2 weeks, we've committed to 3 shows a week because we got so many people that want to be on. What am I going to do? You got to wait till, August or September to get on the show. I've got more airtime and I can do half-hour spots, and then you'll get the full hour of content. Half of it will air, half of it may not. You get all of it. It's all produced with that ABC logo in the corner. So all of it's going to get 10 to 30 times. I can show you the data. Look at my clients. They've got their own videos out there, drone shit videos, great looking videos, but they're not on ABC. We get 10 to 20 and 30 times more views, I think, because it says ABC on it. And it's got Cardinal Cowboys pretty well known too. I've had some of my clients told me, they're like, I think people recognize you more than they do ABC. They didn't say close anyway. So that's the gist of it. We take it from there, and I can break it down. I've kind of given our little quick presentation here. I saw Don got such an in-depth conversation about you and your business. It really helped me to understand you're exactly the kind of client we want to have on here, because you're going to make us look good too, right? We want the good quality people that have done this for a while. They're doing it for the right reason. They're doing it the high quality way, because that's going to live forever or a lot longer than somebody who does it quick, easy. Let me get in here, make some money, and then get a bad rep, and then they don't,
Right.
They don't last, right? We know the people who do that.
Yeah, we're here for the long haul.
So with that, Dawn, please jump into can we show you a couple slides? Just got the basic information about our show and how we do what we do.
Yes.
Kind of gave you the ballpark if you're interested in that. If you want the free thing, certainly something we offer. We use that as a promotional thing. We do something for free every once in a while. We're trying to get some more excitement created about us, and those people will take that little free clip and share it with their friends, and that brings us more business. Right now, we don't need that. We're just relying on people, because we found so many people, they want the full-blown show and all the production that goes into that and all the clips that come out of it. So Carroll House is one of our biggest sponsors, obviously. Go to the next one, Dawn, please. And because you like nice things, I'm also part. I do have my mortgage license that tied into this whole thing. That kind of went to the back burner when the mortgage rates went through the roof, you can imagine. But I am licensed and I do work with those guys. And then here's background about myself a little bit. Here's our list of some of our shows that we've seen in the past, but you can stay here. You know my background. We shared this a little bit. Are you familiar with the Cardinal Cowboy before today, or is today the first time you heard about Cardinal Cowboy?
Oh, no, I checked it all out. So, yeah, I'm familiar. Yes.
Okay. And so brain injury, all kinds of, they put my website on MLB. That was broadcast by MLB on Facebook. There's my website. They like what I do. Community-based stuff and everything that ties into that. So on here, helping businesses, getting them onto the kind of exposure with all the experience I've gained, corporate and otherwise, since then, about 16 years after I got laid off by Anheuser-Busch now. But we're helping small businesses. Go ahead, Don. Like I said, we found, I'm updating our slides. These are guests that Dawn found. They came on our show. They thought this was great. I mentioned our competitor. They said, hey man, we're willing to get all kinds of exposure. They went on to them and got what they offer too. Better to have 2 things than just one. But on the back end of their interview was our interview.
Yeah.
So they have a landing page. These guys did it right. They have funnel pages. We can talk about that, all about that. I've been doing funnel pages. Has anybody ever mentioned to you what a funnel page is?
No.
So that the conversion rate there goes up even higher. I mean, along the lines of what we tend to see. When I say double, that's kind of like a minimum of what we expect. Funnel pages, they argue, the company that makes these the main product. I licensed the competitor because I know there's always somebody out there who might do it elsewise. They happen to be called Thrive, different Thrive, THRIVE. I got in front of the whole sales force when I first started, because I want to make sure if I recommended something, I wasn't recommending something that we sold. And they said, no, we don't do funnel pages. I said, okay, then I can recommend this other product. And it's called Thrive Architect, but it's much less expensive. I bought the unlimited license for that. So my clients, instead of $250 It's $297 a month for ClickFunnels. You can look it up. Go to ClickFunnels, clickfunnels.com. They're the top name brand. There's a lot of competitors that do a whole lot of different stuff. The one I have is still out there, big, well-known, but I bought the unlimited license. So now I don't have to charge you another $297 for that. We just take it and load it onto your existing site. And I know how to work with the Duda sites. We would actually do an ancillary sub-site called through WordPress. My stuff works on WordPress. Are you familiar with WordPress?
Yes.
Okay, so WordPress is by far the most popular platform out there. Dude is
Yes.
pretty good though, what they get into. But you can see here, their landing page, that's a shot of the bottom of the landing page. They had on the left, they had their Great Day St. Louis, and then they had our stock. I would have used a different one. They had some better shots. They had, it's 30 frames a second times 60 minutes. You have thousands of shots that you can use, right? But they like that one. That's fine. That kind of shows us off. But I would put their stuff on the back. And then on the right, there's their main video on their funnel page. This is the main video they put on there. So they know this stuff really helps, and this just helps with that conversion rate. So go ahead, Don. I wanted to dig into that a little bit because it looks like Patrick understands this stuff. There's a great example, just a roofing site with a video on it versus a roofing site without one. You're always going to be gravitating to the guy who's got a clip on there. What's going on? This guy's got that. I see ABC in the corner there. What's going on here? And so that's where we show that example difference there. But Charlie put that thing up there before I even got done almost. I uploaded immediately after we recorded. He even used our embedded version. I gave him a copy, but then he's got to upload it to his channel. He just took the embedded copy that's on our channel. You can do that. I advocate you use the one I give you for all your own building, your own YouTube channel, etc. You can get to that later. But you can see here's the example I was talking about. 64 views for their great drone footage. You can see they're up in the sky there. They got a drone shot. They're looking down on some of the roofs that they've worked on. On the far right, okay, they got double the amount of views there, but they have 2,000 views on the middle one, which is our interview. No drone shot there. It just happens to be on ABC, right?
Wow.
2,100 versus 6,432. Do the
Yeah.
math. A whole lot more attraction that brings to your, and that's on their social media besides putting it on the website. Here's our own fan page, our new page. We started from scratch, 17,000 minutes, 33,000 1-minute views, 43,000 3-second views where they just watched a little bit of it, but my name was on there, my video was on there, my the embedded logos we put on there, they see that. And then 3,200 people engaged. And this is all when we only had 200 and something followers. This is another thing I'll show you how to organic. This is all done for free. This is organic. I show you how to do this. I've been doing this for almost 20 years now. Cardinal Cowboy, 2006, I think it was, or maybe it's 2009. So 15 years of social media where I've been putting stuff out there. I've had millions of views. This is just a snap. This is our new page. You're a little castle. I've been kind of backed off that because I use my own page more often, Cardinal Cowboy. It's got a lot more traction, but we'll show you how to build that up. Just some examples of some of the people who've been on. Renter Garage came in. Dawn found them. They met with me. Their local guy. He went back to the corporate guy in KC, and the KC guy said, "Hey, would you like to be our spokesperson?" So now I'm the official spokesperson for Renter Garage. Are you familiar with them?
Yes.
And so Brad and I become good friends. He and I kind of shared a little passion. We both had a little bit of tragedy. Most people at some point in their life have had some tragedy, but mine was a coma. He shared with, I won't share his, but we bonded. He loves what he's getting some great results from those commercials that are on KMOX. They're just voice, they're audio, but I recorded them with this mic you see sitting here in front of me that I bought after we came to an agreement. I'm like, that pays for this mic. The mics we normally use are lapel mics on the show though. Coach Cross Garage loves what we do. Tony Jackson, she's the auditor for St. Louis County, but she's about to end her reign there. She doesn't want to continue with that. It sounds like she wants to get back into the private sector, and she figured out what we're doing. She came on, and then on down the list there. Big Jessica's a big window company. She bought them out. She worked for him and bought them out. Charlie again, he's the guy with the. He came in again for a hail expert video because hail came through, so he's been on twice. Ed Wheatley's from the Browns Historical Society, and then we did another one for the Honor Flight. That's some of the extra airtime we produce on my own to do stuff for the community. I pay for it myself. I shoot it and edit it myself. A couple of those you see there. Home Options Made Easy. He's come in twice. He's got a solar company and a roofing company. And last one on this list, and there's 100 of these videos now. If you go through the whole list, this is just a screenshot. No Limit Contracting. They do cement. And we actually did 2 shows for them because they also do, what was the other big pools? Pools and cement kind of go together, right? So we recorded 2 for them. Next slide for me there, Don. So here's just a sample. This is 1 year, just 1 year. You figure 539,000 people you reached. Well, I did pay for a little bit, 18,000 of that. That's about $200 worth of paid advertising. Or maybe 300 in that ballpark. That other 500 says on the other side there. There's the total reach minus the paid. I'm sorry, I'm separate from the paid, So 539,000 people I have reached organically for free because I'm not good at much, Patrick, but I am good at getting attention. And my dad taught me that as a kid. He says, doesn't matter what you do, but you first must gain someone's attention, do it the right way, do it for the right reasons, and things will go your way. We like helping people, so it's worked out well. Instagram, we don't even push that, but we still get 12,000 on. I don't even post there. I tag it along with my Facebook post because it'll let me post both of them at the same time sometimes. But you can see only 3,000 followers. How do we get 500,000 people or each month? You can see on the right, this last 28 days, 93,000 people. That's outside of the 3,000, maybe some of those 3,000 are our fans are part of that, but I can show you how to organically get well beyond your local page audience organically for free. And that's stuff I coach you on that you can use these videos. The thing is, you've got to have compelling, interesting content. Being on a national network, on a local show, even if it's local, a national network is compelling. Way better than the average guy who shoots, in the backyard or in their garage or at their neighbor or at their business or at their clients. But if you get it on ABC, it just by virtue, it could be the same video. It just airs on ABC. It gets a lot more attention. This is another shot of just some of the video stuff we've done. And this is over a shorter time frame, but you can just see how this stuff builds. I believe that's 1 year, but 1 year compared to the previous year and 122,000 minutes. That's a lot of viewership over a year of doing stuff for free, organic stuff. Dave Rispoli, first client. I knew he would be interested. He's a marriage coach besides being a pastor, but he's like, I'm on. What's it cost? I'll pay for it. He's also been one of our selected high-level, next-level speakers, and he wanted to be on that. They paid to have this thing produced. I've set up. I got an audience to show up. This makes you look like a head honcho. If you want to be in front of an audience, we record those probably once or twice a year. We're going to do another one of those. That turned out great. But Dave has been on both of those. This is the guy that's probably the best example. Isaac came in and Dawn, she's laughing because I'm like, Dawn, why did you call Isaac? He's already been on. He goes, because he wants to be on again. I'm like, I gotta ask Isaac, why do you want to be on again? He goes, because I got to update a few things. And it was worth it. How was it worth it? Well, you see right there, his average sale is 40, but he said between 30 and 50. So for my little graphic I put here, let's just use the low end number he gave me. It's really more like 500,000. Because he goes, Carter, I tracked 12 sales that definitely came from the video. Now it's over a 2-year time frame, and just put it on his website. Didn't do any of the other stuff I advocate, but he did at least put it on his website. And he goes, people call me after they've watched the video. It's a 15-minute clip that aired on ABC. It sells my jobs for me while I sleep. I'm like, oh, yeah. And he goes, and I made $500,000. In this case, we say 360,000. Watch the video. I actually screw up, and I don't say this in the video, but if you listen to me, I say the wrong number. Well, the wrong number was I had already calculated in my head the profit that he made. So I said the profit number, then I'm like, oh, let's back out of here. I don't like to mention the profit people have. But I just, in my head, I know the average is around 30% margin in a lot of industries. And he's actually says a little bit higher than that. But anyway, I say in the video 130, something like that, which is about a third. 120 is a third of the 360. He actually made more than that. So here's what we actually do, what we're offering now. And Dawn and I talked a little bit before this. I'm going all the time. I said, Dawn, when they get on, call me. I'm working on something else. So I joined a little late. Appreciate you letting me jump in after I fixed a couple of things we're working on. But I had her edit this. So we've migrated to a new technology that takes the clips and takes them to another level. And that is because everything that is spoken can now be quickly translated into text, right? Voice to text. We now do that on our cell phones, right? You can say, and I went to the grocery store, period. And it puts on your text in your text message instead of a WAV file. It actually puts the text in there, right? So they do the same thing with these clips. Now they take that instead of saying, hey, for closed captioning purposes, for people that have auditory issues, I have to every show I have to pay to get the closed captioning done. Cost me $50 a show to do that on top of what else we spend to ABC, and ABC gives me a hell of a deal. So a little bit of cost, et cetera. But now we've learned to take that same idea. Why do people just have to hear it? Why can't they see it as well? So across the clips, they read, and it highlights each word as it's being read. changes to a color. And for the keywords that the AI identifies that are relative to your industry or keywords that you keep talking about, it then highlights those keywords and puts those in a different color. It also cuts the clips according to the best segment that it determines with its algorithm. I just upload the thing, let it come back down. It automatically goes this analysis, and then boop, it starts dropping clips into my folder, and I go download them, and I put them into a folder for you to download and use. That's all included. So I want to give you a little bit of the background there. That's very powerful because it's not just a short version of what you've got, which is great because people don't like to watch long clips. You'll get their attention more easily if they don't know who you are, if they're not looking for it specifically. When they're looking for you specifically, right, they're going, I'll watch the whole thing because I'm ready to make a purchase. If you're just trying to get their attention, you got to show them something cool, and then you'll bring them in that way. Then you lead them to your website where you got the full interview, etc. But now that AI on there and the clips are geared towards keyword analysis, it tells you what keywords are most effective to have included. So this would normally charge somebody. I know what it costs. I've done it. You would easily spend to do this on your own. You can do it like we did and bring in 6 or 7 people at one time. That dramatically reduces cost. But I don't know any business owner that's in the business. Hey guys, let's all get together and all make videos. It's possible. You could do that. You're a pretty ambitious guy. You may want to take time to do that, or you might want to stay focused on what you're good at. That's where you make your real money. Bring in the experts that come in and can do this for you. But now we can do this whole thing for $2,400 because I built my own studio. There's a big cost savings. I already told you what it costs to rent that other studio, and some studios are a little less than that. And then now we're doing, you can get that includes the AI clips cut out of that 28-minute that will air on ABC. And I said, hey man, it costs us a little to do that. If you want the full 60 minutes made into AI clips, just throw me another $100. Instead of just the part that aired on ABC, we'll do the whole 60 minutes, all of it cut into clips. You're going to end up with between 40 and 80 clips that way. And then it also makes them in 2 formats. We're all familiar with the vertical format right now. For some reason, people can't take their phone for whatever reason and just turn it sideways. That's another thing humans have to figure out. So they figured out a lot of people won't do that. So now they take that vertical clip that was cut and filmed this way, and they crop it. It cuts out the sides, but they make it fit horizontally or vertically instead of horizontally. So then you get essentially it's the same clip, just cut the other way. But it helps you because now there's a lot of people, they just learned that you got to have both formats. So you get both of those. So double whatever we give you, you're going to get copies of each for that. So here's what we offer. $600 locks you in. You're going to get the next available spot. We are backed up a little bit right now, but we're only 2 or 3 weeks out because of the extra airtime ABC offered me. And then I've got $600 due when you actually book. Many people book at the same time. They do. And I'd say it's about 1 out of 3. They're like, Carter, I love your presentation. Here's the $600. And I say, cool. Do you want to schedule when we actually film this thing? Sounds like you're interested in getting this thing knocked out. Every month you don't have a video like this on your website is another month. You're not converting a higher percentage of your visits. And that one of those misses costs you what this video costs you. Why would you want to put this off 2 and 3 or 4 weeks, much less 2 or 3, 4 months? Because every month that's 2 or 3, 4, 5, $10,000 that you probably would have brought in. So we say $600, $600, then you're half paid up. Next button gone. The remaining $1,200 then is due at the end of this when we record. So the guy today, we actually did some extra work like on the spot. I make the rules. I'm the boss. I get to decide. We did some extra stuff. He added a little extra. I said, then write me a check for the difference. A couple $100 extra bucks for a few extra things we did. We were paid up. He knows this thing's done now because the way I shoot it, there's virtually no editing has to be done. I put the titles up. I do the transitions between cameras. I do the intro. I do the close, all built into my process. That's all a ton more editing that has to be done that we don't have to do because I'm a systematic type of guy, right? I like to systemize, and so that saves you a lot there. So that's the whole ball of wax right there. Then any other questions you got, or where you? I would say, where you at with this? Is this something you're interested in? Where you're feeling?
Yeah, very interested. Okay, so so basically, this is going to be like on a YouTube format, is that right? Like,
yeah, it's what the typical format that airs on a television. So it's cut to be on ABC on a 16:9. They call that 16:9, and then it goes on YouTube on that same format, and then you can turn it. And
so will you be able to put this on my website, or will I need to upload, this interview or this Q&A with me?
Yeah, back when I worked for my old company, I was not allowed to log into your website, right? Because if I messed it up, I could get sued. I should probably follow those guidelines, but I'm also very technology savvy. I don't have much problem. I can easily walk you through it. I've logged into Duda websites before. I figured out Duda actually does the websites for Thrive. Little secret, don't tell anybody I told you.
Okay. Well,
They-
Thrive is handling my website now. I don't know if they're going to upload this video for me if I ask them, but my website designer, who's my niece, she can also upload it. I'm
Yeah.
sure.
And I say the process there is so simple. Once you understand it, it's really easy. And it's,
Okay.
I think that's, you can wait for me to show you, or you go to YouTube and you type in how to share or embed my YouTube video into my website. And there'll be 100 videos that show you how to do that. It's easy.
Okay, good. So how many, so for the 2,400, how many times would we do a Q&A? Would it just be one or
Yeah,
what?
so one time sit down, Dawn is already predicting what I'm gonna talk about or what you're gonna ask, because here are the questions. We know that you're not a video producer, right? So I,
Right.
over time, figured out, here are the core questions that we need to be answered, right? So that we get the core things that people are thinking about, they wanna know. That they may not even tell you, but they wanna find these things before they meet with you very often.
Okay, all right.
How you been a bit, there's 16 questions there. And you can write your own questions too.
You can
Gotcha.
customize your questions, yes.
Okay. Tell me a time when you feel like you really, okay, I see.
There's 5 questions above this, but scroll up for them there, Don.
And Don, you can help me with this, I'm sure, right?
Oh, yeah, we will send this to you. Actually,
Okay.
why don't we send this to you right now? Because this is a
Yeah.
copy.
Good.
Let
good.
me relabel this. Elegant.
And these are your copy, your questions. If you never do business with us, go ahead and use these questions anyway. I like to help people no matter what. But
No,
you-
I'm very interested. I think this would be great. And like you said, I can put on my website, as, I don't know, you help me with this, maybe Don can help me, but I don't know if it would say something like as seen on ABC,
Mhm.
I don't know. Is that correct? Can we do that?
Yeah, whatever you want to say to describe it, it captured in the video. I put that ABC logo on the production from the minute it starts my pre-roll introduction
Okay.
video through the entire broadcast to the end. So it's going to
Okay.
give a snapshot. I think it's about 8 seconds in, 5 seconds in by default right now. YouTube changes this a little bit sometimes, but that's where they go right there from that point in. That's where they snag a picture. That's the thumbnail. And so
Okay.
it's going to have that ABC logo in the corner.
So it's going to be embedded there where my clients can see that and see that it's,
Yeah.
like a legitimate interview, with cable, whatever, cable television.
Show him Schneider Roofing real quick, Don.
Sure, let me get your email real quick so I can send that to you.
Yes, it's elegant, ELEGANT, proposal.
Oops, spelled wrong.
Yeah, proposal at gmail.com.
At Gmail.
Is that also? Yeah,
There it
that's
is,
fine.
right there.
Everybody's email is now indexed by Google too.
Yeah, so we'll do a Zoom meeting, is that correct?
You can come to our studio or we've got remote software. And so
Okay,
if you're Southeast Missouri,
Well, I'm in Rolla, but I mean,
Rolla, yeah.
I come up there all the time, so I could, if you think an in-house interview would be better, I can do that, but whatever you think.
well, I would answer that with a question. Are you interested in making money sooner or would you want to wait until you can get to the studio? It doesn't make any difference to me. I want what's best for you. There's not a
I
tremendous.
mean, dude, hey, I'm already booked up to the end of the year, so this is like a longevity thing for me. This is not like something that I'm gonna, a cash cow for this summer only. This is something for longevity for me.
Correct,
Okay,
correct.
so
Very smart. That's the way you should be looking at it.
yes, yeah. So I'm looking at 2 years down the road, 3 years down the road. I'm looking at this winter when things get slow and I can send people to this website or traffic goes through my website and they'll say, oh, I saw that little clip or that little interview, and just like you said, when I'm sleeping, when I'm on vacation, during the winter months when we're closed, it's going to be working for us. And I like that idea. And I think we've needed something like this. We're the largest landscape company in our area right now. We were always second or, probably always second. And now we are the premier landscape company in this area, as well as foundation, drainage control. And that's another thing I want to talk about. If we can do that is foundation repair work, French drains. That is big money. And that's what we are pushing in 2023.
Yeah, then I would just say, so Dawn just sent you that editable, it's an editable document. It's a Google Doc. And it went to a Gmail, so that means you can edit it because the Gmail will allow you to edit. We were sending that to a Outlook or Hotmail, then you got to switch it over. But since we send it to a Gmail, we made you an editor of it. You can just make notes. You don't have to rewrite any questions, but you just might look at that timeline and say at what point, because kind of do the introduction stuff at the beginning, but then you might say, hey, I want to make sure in the first 15 minutes, because it's going to get cut clips anyway, but I want to make sure in that first half hour that airs on ABC within the first 15 minutes, put that under after question 3, for instance. So you would insert a little note here. Carter asked me about, or just say, ask about French drains. And I would just come up with a question. That's all you got to say. I go,
Okay.
I'm a little bit confused. I don't know what a French drain is, but I understand those are important these days. Tell me about French drains. And then I will let you go on with that.
Or just say something like, ask a question like, do you deal with leaky basements, or what if I have moisture in my basement? Is that landscape related? And then we can go into detail and say, yes, we are actually licensed and insured to install French drains, and then we can go into detail about that stuff.
Yeah, no, that's great. I started looking up French drains when you said that. There's all kinds of stuff. It's like people get gravel down and it sucks the water out from wherever around and drains it out.
Yes, it is big money today. It is big money. And, obviously, this as well as I do, since COVID, we've lost a lot of contractors, a lot of businesses are no longer present. And so we've just kind of had to branch out and go into other areas. And I'll be honest with you, Cowboy, we really do very little landscaping today. It's just mostly just big time hardscaping and drainage control, gutter drains, as far as underground gutter drains, and lawn drains and French drains. So yeah, that's our big money, since 2020. Patio, outdoor fire pit patio sets, pergolas, arbors, privacy fencing. I mean, that stuff is big money.
Sure. Well, I know. Yeah. And they're big jobs. So it doesn't have to be a ton of markup on them, because with such a big job, you make 20% on a $30,000 job, you made a nice little profit.
And you can come in for multiple interviews. Brian Klauser here, he owns the Real McCoy Body Works out in Imperial, and he's on his 3rd or 4th interview that he
We just finished his 3rd. He wants to do one every quarter, because it's kind of a seasonal thing too. I think.
Okay. And Don, what would that cost each time I come in? What is that gonna?
If you do a bulk, we can talk about that right now. What Brian agreed to with is we're going to do we give a discounted rate overall. We just take the whole thing and say, imagine you were going to right now 2,400 times 4, right? You're $4,800, $9,600. Well, I would say we could give you 15% off of that, and then divide that, take 15% and then divide that by 4 again, and then that would be what we would ask for each time. And if you do more than that, ancillary stuff, because here's another thing you might be interested in, especially if you're talking about you're going to come in the studio. Do you have a client where you've actually recorded one of these drains during the installation or after it was done, or somebody can
I've got many, and I can, you just tell me what you need and I can get it.
Yeah. So what we do is we send you a clip, or so we send you a folder. We upload everything to Google Drive. So I can create a folder that's accessible only by you. Now we've got your Gmail. So we send you this link. It gives you an email. It says, click here. And now that's your little private folder. You can't see all of our other stuff, but everything in there you can upload to that. So then I would don't some people go and they upload 400 things. I'm like, that's great, but we're not going to go through 400 things. Now we got to sort through of those 400 things, what you want to put on the show during that 1 hour you're in studio. But I would say be very specific, say, I want this clip, and maybe a 3rd clip. But 1 usually, sometimes 2, maybe 3. And then you will take them in that outline we gave you, and you say, ask me here about video number 1. And I will then go download that video before you get here, or usually right before you come in. I put it on the computer, because then it allows me to play it into the system, and the audio comes across too. Instead of trying to play it from the YouTube down to the computer out to the audio, it doesn't work as well to have the hard copy on the computer. So you'll give me that. That's another ad. We do that for free. You just got to give me the clip. If you want us to come shoot a clip on site, it's $500 plus travel expenses. And you may not be, it's not really worth doing that unless you just are afraid of using one of these things.
Yeah, I have that with Thrive, basically unlimited, and I haven't done any yet, but they're going to. So I already have that with Thrive.
Okay. Yeah, if they're coming out to your site to do that, I know that you bought the super bundle. I know that's the one. that
Yes.
includes-
Yes,
But,
yes.
Yeah, they could have taken it to the next level and put it on ABC, but that's another whole, they didn't want to get into it. Somehow you gotta know who to talk to, and there's a lot of learning there, but we'll take whatever they gave you. If they come around, we can shoot that one whenever they come back around for that. But I'm interested in having you on, if not this week or next week, but the following week, if that's all right for you, and then
Yeah, yeah.
we gotta
And you
record.
can come in for the interview next week or the following week and do the interview, and then he'll send it to ABC after that,
Right.
you know,
Okay.
2 weeks
That'll
out.
work, because you're kind of jumping over a couple people. We have some pending proposals out there, and we're putting shows on, man. So they're probably gonna come back to me. I'm gonna say, sorry, you gotta wait now for another couple of weeks because Patrick took your spot.
Yeah, yeah. No, I'm going through the same thing with my, it's like these people that are, well, let me think about it. It's like, well, good luck, because I know I told you right now it would be late September I could get to you. When you get back to me, I can't guarantee you that spot's gonna be available. It probably won't. So I'm just telling you right now, if you get back to me in 3 weeks, it's gonna be next year. And that's, you know what? When I tell people that right there, we will get you an answer in the morning. It's like, and they do.
Well, that's good. Yeah, and we're similar thing. We're about to launch. I just finished up the final for this it's called contest marketing. I'll show you how to do this if you want, but you just run in a contest like they used to do old fashioned. Everybody put your name in the hat, put your business card in the hat, they pull out a winner. Now you do that all online. So we're about to launch one. Over the years, as a computer nerd, I've now saved 14,000 cell phone numbers. Dawn updated me. She says, not 13,000, Carter, it's 14,000. So I'm gonna go back there, and like 60% of them are business people, because that's how I think, right? And so
Yeah.
we're just gonna send out a blast. My tech guy, who's my guru guy, he's one of my mentors. He's done stuff for Walmart.com, hotels.com, big stuff. He's like, Carter, you have an absolute gold mine. We're gonna do a contest, and we're gonna launch it. We're gonna give, somebody's gonna win for free, right? That's how contest marketing works. And that one person will win, and whenever that happens, that'll happen. But the other 9,842 people that submitted their application to win just told me that they're ready to be on my show. Sorry, you didn't win, but now you know about my show. You didn't know about it before, and I haven't had a chance to tell everybody. And of those, we're gonna start, he says we're kind of gonna start recording between 3 and 5 shows a week. So that's about to go. And the people that are waiting to tell me 2 weeks from now, I'm like,
Yep.
you might as well wait till next spring, because
Yep.
I'm so backed up.
Yeah,
Like-
yeah, and you got to stand your ground with that. That's something that I've told people today is, I know the world, everything is urgent, now, but you really don't have time to sit here and think about it. And that's
If you
how
know
I
it's
tell people.
right, if you know it's right, and you know it's a quality offer, hit it while you still have,
Yeah.
while the coals are still hot.
You got it.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, then tell me, Patrick.
Hey, I want to tell you something. I really like Dawn.
She's helped me tremendously. We were charitable working people together. She asked me to do some charity stuff. I do a ton of that. I love it. And then I went to her, I was like, Dawn, this thing's taking off. I need some assistance with somebody I can count on. And it's hard to find workers, like you said.
Yes.
She came in,
Yeah.
there's a lot she doesn't understand about technology, but I said, that might be better, because now I don't have to untrain the wrong things you're doing.
Yeah, her and I are learning. We're learning.
And if this thing's gonna go to the next level, I said, Dawn, I know you want to do all these things, but here's what I need right now. Please do these. And she's like, I got you. So we're making it happen.
She is
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah,
If you would like to,
yeah.
you tell me, if you need more time, that's fine. If you'd like to lock that next spot in, like I said, you can give me the tentative, or if you'd like to actually lock it in, all we ask is that you put money down, however you
Okay.
want. You
Can
have
I do
three-
that? Can I do that through Dawn, or what? How do I do that?
Yeah, I mean, we can do it right now if that's what you want to do. If you want to follow up with her, you're saying, however you want to handle it.
Well, I don't care. You tell me. I mean,
Yeah, if you want to put it down, I'm one, it's like, let's get it done then, because it's locked
Okay.
in. I don't have to chase on it. It'll give me more time to say, oh, good, we got the next show set. We can focus on Patrick now to get this
yeah,
done.
sounds good. Or okay, give me can you take a card or?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can take a card. I'll get this loaded on this end while you're doing your thing.
Okay.
Yeah, grab a card and then we'll all take a water break.
And-
Just let me know when you're ready.
Okay, Elegant Landscape.